Bruh, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? It's 2025, and Evgeni Malkin is one of the top point scorers in the National Hockey League. Now, that's absolutely outstanding. I'm not going to deny the fantastic news that Evgeni Malkin has gotten off to this hot of a start, but I will say, maybe some of my emotions that I'm feeling right now, feeling a little bit angry because my opponent in fantasy this week has been carried by Evgeni Malkin. It's been ridiculous how many points this guy has accrued in the first 2 games of the year. But say it ain't so, Geno Malkin has 5 points in 2 games, 5 assists to start out this 2025-2026 campaign. He trails Jack Eichel, for the number 1 spot in the National Hockey League in points. Who knows how long that's going to last? Evgeni Malkin last put up a point-per-game season in the year 2022-2023. That's actually not that far back. I thought it would have been further. Ay. Geno is a beast, and maybe I have been subliminally disrespecting the guy by being surprised at his 205-point pace to open up the 82-game season to be. But Evgeni Malkin is one of 2 Pittsburgh Penguins centers that we are going to talk about today in regards to potential trades. We're going to be talking about Malkin, we're going to be talking about Crosby, and we're getting into the latest discourse in regards to potential destinations for these guys. Now, of course, you click this video because of one very particular Canadian captain being linked to one very particular Canadian hockey team. And this was talked about on thehockeywriters.com by Blaine Potvin 2 days ago. And I wanted to dive into this article in this video, how, according to Potvin, the Montreal Canadiens could be preparing for some early blockbuster deals. After an offseason filled with blockbuster moves, the Canadiens will finally begin the 25-26 campaign on Wednesday against Toronto. After an unexpected appearance in the playoffs last year, expectations are high for this improved edition of GM Kent Hughes' roster. These expectations will fuel every decision Hughes makes this season. The Winter Olympics break, a very deep 2026 NHL Entry Draft pool, and questions as to why they started with only 22 players on the roster. And how some players may not be able to fill glaring needs will set the stage. Yet the biggest hint at a future blockbuster is the team's glaring needs and how they are managing the salary cap this year. The article dives into the Montreal Canadiens making salary cap space, how Sammy Blais was sent on waivers and he ended up getting claimed, his $775,000 contract, the fact that it was waived, also saved the Canadiens money even if it did end up clearing. Add to that their $5.57 million in cap space, and Hughes will have just over $8 million in total cap space by the deadline, with a glaring need for a top 6 center. The article cites what Puckpedia went out there and said how the Canadiens' opening night roster has a $5.5 million projected cap space. Then you had yourself some bonus overages and whatever you have extra there. With no roster moves, this can fit $25 million annual cap hit at the deadline. So, with this in mind, the article dives into some options for the team. And it says here, the Canadiens will move earlier. Hughes made some roster moves before the season to accumulate cap space. The new NHL regulations make it even more important to manage the cap properly, especially with specific needs to be filled ahead of the playoffs. For Hughes and the Canadiens, making a trade sooner rather than later seems to be the priority. The 2026 draft class is a pretty attractive one, so of course the Canadiens are probably watching. And with that in mind, it could incite teams that are supposed to be bad, like Pittsburgh, to potentially be making a move earlier. With the Habs having the youngest team in the NHL, a full 2.5 years younger than the next youngest team to have made the 2025 postseason, they need a veteran center who can help lead the club. If Hughes can clear up $8 million and remove one center from the lineup, likely Oliver Kapanen based on his age and role on Demidov's line, that'll open up roughly $9 million, which should be enough to land a significant player in that hole. Like, Sidney Crosby. Now, I know everybody's looking at it saying, hey, wait a minute, Lego, Oliver Kapanen has been a beast. He's been so good. Why would you trade this guy? I mean, let's be real. If you trade away Oliver Kapanen for Sidney Crosby, I get it, Kapanen has had a really hot start, but Sidney Crosby's still Sidney freaking Crosby. Eric Engels noted an outside chance that Sidney Crosby could be a possible target, and the math does seem to add up. The Penguins are among the 5 oldest teams in the league, they have a weak prospect pool, and an uphill battle to even earn a wild card position. There's a good chance that Penguins GM Kyle Dubas will be selling, and Crosby would be an ideal fit for Montreal. Also is the fact that Pittsburgh has acquired Kasperi Kapanen in the past, so obviously there's a very funny connection there. But it turns out, it's not even just Sid the Kid Crosby that is popping up in NHL trade rumors now. It's also the guy who happens to be one of the most productive players in the league this season in Evgeni Malkin. While Crosby has started out the year with 2 points in 2 games, Gino has literally doubled that and then some, and it's why we are talking about this right here, as posted on NHLTradeRumors.me. There is a growing narrative that Evgeni Malkin will be a Florida Panther. According to insider Greg Wyszynski, speaking on Sportsnet's Halford and Brough, it seems like a certain match here. He said on the radio, the growing narrative in the NHL right now is, with Alex Barkov going down, and with Malkin having a house in Miami, that they'll probably find a way for him to be the number 1 C in Florida before too long. That's a place he'd probably be willing to go with Sergei Bobrovsky there. Bobrovsky, the Panther star goaltender, is Malkin's countryman from Russia. He's entering the final year of his contract with the Penguins, and while his slightly more famous longtime teammate Sidney Crosby has indicated over and over he doesn't want to leave Pittsburgh, Malkin has made no such definitive declarations. In fact, the 39-year-old Malkin made some shocking comments on the first day of training camp last month, talking about how good he thought the situation was for Marchand last year. The lifetime Bruin gave the okay for the team to trade him to the Panthers at the deadline, and the rest is history. Now, this article says that Malkin seemed a little bit jealous, but it also talks about how the Panthers have a spot for Malkin. The Panthers have Barkov on regular LTIR, and so they can only free up $3.8 million of cap space under the new rules this season. But if they decide to put Barkov on the season-ending LTIR, they'll get his full $10 million cap hit to work with to bring in new recruits. Malkin's AAV is 6.1 mil. So, Evgeni Malkin on the gosh darn Florida Panthers? You know how many years it's been that we've seen Evgeni Malkin just totally dominate in the National Hockey League, and we said year in and year out, hey, this guy's a number 1 center caliber player. He is one of the best players in the league. Prime Malkin was a total monster, unhinged, but the only reason he didn't really get that status, why he wasn't included on the 100 greatest players ever, is because Sidney Crosby exists, and Malkin was playing in that guy's shadow. Well, is there a chance for Malkin to finally be the only prime, pure, bona fide number 1 center, like he was always kind of destined to be when he was taken 2nd overall in 2004? And could it be with Florida? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you didn't, hey, the dislike button's down there for you. But Montreal and Sid, Gino and Florida. Comments help out with the algorithm, so I'd appreciate it if you got involved in the conversation there. What are your thoughts on the latest on these 2 top centers in the NHL and in Pittsburgh, and the fact that Evgeni Malkin is one of the top scorers? This guy could be going to Florida of all places. That's what the rumor mill is spewing out these days. Thoughts in the comment section below about how these trades are going to go down. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.